Hey guys, welcome back to Eternal Evolution. In today's video, we're going to do a beginner's guide for the game. It is global launch time, so hopefully with all this, I can get you guys pointed in the right direction for what you want to focus on. I'm not going to go too in-depth into all the different features because there's so many, it would take forever. I will just do future videos on them, but this is the basic overview. Now, it's very similar to most idle games. If you're an idle game aficionado, if that's how you say the word, the one key difference I want to show you guys is that we do have gear with different stats and different randomized base stats and set bonuses. So it takes like turn-based type gearing system into idle games, which is the big difference in this game from other games. But that's more of an end game thing that we'll focus on later on. But let's go through the basics. So like any idle game, the key things you want to do is focus on your campaign mode and just pushing through campaign. And then also the other mode that you're always going to be able to do and try and progress through is your soul mine, which is your tower mode. This is going to give you limit breaking materials, and the campaign is going to give you your experience. But the main thing you want to focus on is going to be campaign progression, because it's how you unlock more features. And the number one thing you want to focus on when you start the game is this thing in the bottom right here. This is like a progression type system. So whenever you see a mission in here, you want to clear it, because then it unlocks another stage of missions. And as you can see down here, you get a lot of these missions and you get a lot of summons, a lot of rewards from them. So that's the most important thing to follow. And even if it means breaking another typical idle game rule, you want to do it in this one. For instance, normally with fast patrol, we say do it at the end of the day, because then you're going to maximize your rewards. However, probably in your first hour of play, you'll see one in this that'll say use fast reward. Use it because it's going to unlock so many more missions for you that are going to give you so many more summons and help you progress. So this is your number one thing that you want to follow. It's the biggest thing for progression, in my opinion. So definitely follow this thing if there's no other tip that you take away. So, like I said, campaign, you want to follow this. Now, the cool thing about campaign is, let's take a look at what we have. We have our 5 units that we can deploy. We have our commander, who's going to give buffs to certain types of characters. And then we have these artifacts. There's an offensive, a defensive, and a supportive one. We'll go through these a bit later, and we'll do more videos on these in the future, but they're just added effects that you can bring into combat. So once we've got our team placed, team of 5, we go ahead and challenge. Now, the cool thing about this game is the manual is actually really strong. If you're stuck on a stage, you can change specific characters off of auto and put them on manual. So the other characters will trigger as soon as they get full energy. However, these ones you have to control yourself. And it's a really good feature if you're stuck on a stage, because you can change the way the battle works. So for instance, I'll show you this one, a couple of my units so he's on auto, he's just going to ult, no stress. He's going to ult, no stress. Okay, so this one here, you can see I can now use this ability and target whichever unit I want to. So normally he's going to target like the nearest unit on auto, but I can sort of get him over here, and maybe I want to execute this dude and get him out of harm's way a little bit, and I can do that. So like you can target it. Then Taylor here, he jumps around. So in certain bosses, if you need him to be in a certain spot, you can actually manipulate his position by manualing it. Otherwise, at base, he just jumps backwards. So like we can go over here and say, you know, I want to see if I can get some aggro over here, or you know, maybe steal aggro from one character when that one dies, like we're doing. So we've got this one spear attacking him, so we're spreading a little bit of the damage. You know, you can do stuff like that. But here we go again. Now I'm getting a bit heated. Let's just jump over here. Now, I'm probably going to fail this stage because it's a bit tough, but we may actually get this one. But yeah, the being able to manual it to actually impact the gameplay is fantastic in this one. So there we go. We completed the stage, and let me show you the next thing. In Chapter 5, you'll get this tap to auto challenge. If you click that, every time you clear a stage, it'll automatically go to the next stage. However, if you fail the stage, it won't automatically retry for you, which is the one disappointing part about it. But hey, it's still pretty decent to auto next stage. That's the basics behind combat. Let's quit. All right. Moving on from that, we have, so like I said, campaign. The other thing you want to focus on is tower. Before I go into all the other modes, I want to look at characters and progression because it's a very interesting one. So in this game, if we go to the gallery, we have elite heroes, we have rare heroes, we have common heroes. This is a standard elite hero. Then we go this one, another standard elite hero, another standard elite hero. This is a rare hero. The rare heroes are your fodder heroes. Just keep that in mind. They're like any other idle game, those are your fodder heroes. You're just going to feed them away. That's all they're there for. This one is an elite, but it's a triple S. So these triple S heroes you don't get from the regular banner. You can get one of them from the regular banner, but the rest of them you're going to have to save up and get them from some of them from the shops, or basically when they have exclusive banners. That's where you're going to get these guys. So keep that in mind for the triple S's. So if you see people recommending triple S's, don't worry, you're probably not going to get them in the early game. Then as we move on, I want to show you, we have common heroes. So these ones, these are absolute trash, not even fodder. You just sell them and you get currencies for them. So those are the types of heroes that we have. Now, if we go back out here, and we jump into upgrading our heroes, what I wanted to show you is a chart for upgrading heroes. So over here, you can see it's really nice progression in that basically every time you get a single copy of the hero you want to upgrade, you can upgrade them. So whenever you see the question mark one, you want to use one of those one of the rare heroes, one of those blue base heroes as that. You never want to use an elite hero when it's got this question mark symbol. You don't want to do that because then you're wasting it. You only want to use an elite hero as food when it is asking you for that specific hero itself. As you can see, that is the general flow. You have one copy, you get a random hero of that faction. It has to be hero of that faction. Then you get another dupe, then one of that faction, then a dupe, then a higher evolved one of that faction, then a single dupe. So the great thing is every time you get a copy of your character, you can pretty much upgrade them provided you got the fodder to do the fill in between stage. So that is the way evolution works. And then immortal here is basically where you want to stop for most players and not stress too much. The additional like stars on immortal are just bonus stats. This is like the key stage that you want to get to, and this is more whale territory, and it gets more expensive to upgrade them from there. So let's take a look at the rest of the upgrading system in the characters. Obviously, we have levels. Once you get to certain points, you'll need this, which you get from the tower mode, to go ahead and limit break your characters. I mentioned before equipment. We have exclusive equipment, which is basically your signature item from AFK Arena. Same system, you get some currencies and you upgrade them. You really want to focus on units that you really want to get this on, especially when we look at getting them to the top level at level 30, because this is going to be a very scarce resource. Level 10, you know, you'll probably be able to do a bunch of them, but level 30, this is where you're going to really have to prioritize resources. Then we also have talents. Now, talents are really nice. They upgrade specific abilities of characters and just give them passive buffs. And then also we got stats. Now, these, once you get like to the higher ascensions, you really want to prioritize. Early game, don't stress too much because they're very cheap for upgrades, but as you go on, they get more and more expensive, which means you want to prioritize once you get further on. But in the early game, for people starting out, don't stress. You can just upgrade whatever, and you'll be pretty fine to go. Now, I can't remember what level of ascension you have to get it to unlock talents, but it's fairly early. I don't even, actually, maybe you don't even need an ascension to get the talents. The baseline talents anyway. So that is the basics behind character upgrades. And like I said, the gearing system's really nice, but we'll do a more in-depth guide into that because that is very complex. So now with the basic, what you want to focus on being campaign, this little thing in the bottom right, tower, that's your general progression, how to upgrade. We'll go into the other features of the game. Now, as we jump over here, like I said, Soul Mine is your basic tower mode. This one at the top is always going to be your events when events are on. Rift Fissure is one-time clearing events. Basically, do these as soon as they're unlocked. Don't be like me and just be lazy. You got to have a certain chapter requirement, and then you've got to have the previous one done to 60%, and basically just push through these. They give you nice rewards. As you can see, my game crashed when I was doing this, but these give you nice rewards, 10 summons there, and a bunch of stuff. So literally, you only have to do these once. Get in there, do them, great rewards, definitely worth it. Then we go on to arena, typical idle stuff. You got 1v1 arena, 3v3 arena, very basic, not going to go too deep into that. We have Ancient Altar. This is more of an end game thing. You've got multiple bosses that you've got to fight. When you first unlock this, you're going to pretty much suck at it, so just expect that. Don't stress too much, just do the best you can in this one. This is more of an end game thing that goes in seasons. Then we have these 3 over here, which are your daily dungeons that you get 3 attempts on. Now, you can also get these ones, these rainbow stamina supplement. And I would recommend, this is what I'm doing. I'm saving all of those for the end game because I don't want to use them to get, you know, average gear here. I want to wait for end game gear and then just use all these to maximize my gearing in the game, because we do have randomized stats, we have randomized substats, and we have different gear sets. So getting a bunch of gear in this game is going to be incredibly important. So I am saving all of those for the end game, but you do get to use your 3 attempts anyway. And the cool thing about these 3 attempts, if I cleared 7, which I haven't cleared before, it would not use an attempt. Also, if I used my 3 attempts on level 6, I could still try level 7 and be able to clear it. So whatever one you haven't cleared yet, you can attempt infinitely and it doesn't matter. Now, I'm not going to go in depth into these, but if you want some tips on what to use, you can go to this info thing. He's a multi-hit unit. This one is basically you want melee units, and this one is going to be you want AoE units. That's the basics. But this one, the top one, is going to give you gear. The middle one's going to give you these artifacts, which give you like buffs in battle. And these ones are going to give you commanders, which also give you those buffs in battle. So that is the basics to the border. And then we'll jump over to the base and take a look at what's in the base. Now, firstly, we'll go through the summoning system. Basically, we have a bunch of different banners. Limited banners are where you're going to use your limited tickets, and this is where you're going to get those triple S units. Now, save wisely for these ones because you don't get a heap of these, so you really want to prioritize. Now, we do have a pity at 60 with these, which is nice. You also have an exchange shop. Now, they do sometimes do like double, where like when you summon, you get double this exchange currency for your summons. That's what I kind of want to prioritize in this. But you can buy it, like different banners will have different characters that you can buy from it. But then we also have these things which are fantastic because they can operate as a dupe for any hero. So you're going to want to use these on your triple S heroes to get them duped up. Now, on top of that, when we look at these limited banners, if you pull an elite hero, it's only going to be the 3 that you see on screen. But make sure you're only prioritizing these banners based on the triple S hero because they're the hard ones to get. But as you can see here, the triple S hero, we got a 1.41% chance, then we got a 1.79 on the other 2. So that is your rates, and you cannot get any other elite hero from these. So it's really good for focusing in on the heroes that you want. Next up, we have the basic summon. This is the one where you can use gems on. You're going to do a lot of these. You get a lot of these purple tickets. And these ones, you have very high rates at some of the worst units in the game. For instance, here, if we look at this, like Car Moore, he's just an elite hero, but he's not very good, and they buff his rates. Whereas the better ones, they nerf their rates. Like Randall, he's my man, he's only at a 0.08. So as you get these worse heroes, you're going to get more copies of them. So don't be afraid to upgrade them, because your evolution is going to matter more. Like a higher evolved unit is going to have much better stats than a single copy of a good unit. So keep that in mind. They sort of force you into building different things. You also have an exchange here where you can exchange for some of the different heroes. Most of these are lower tier heroes, but there's a couple decent ones that you can exchange for in there for niche uses. And then we move on to advanced summon. This is the next level of summon where you get a wish list. And I'll do a whole video on wish list, but basically, the wishlist isn't the most reliable thing. It basically puts each of the 5 heroes to a 0.4% chance. So you've got a 5% chance at an elite hero, meaning that when you see an elite hero, which is a 5% chance, only 2% of the 2% of that chance is the wishlist heroes. So basically, I'm butchering the way I'm trying to say this. When you summon, you have a 2% chance at a wishlist hero and a 3% chance at a random elite hero. Hopefully that makes sense. So those are those ones. You do sometimes get events that say, do elite recruitments. So it is something that you can save if you want to. I'm a bit on the fence with it, especially for an early game account, because you need those heroes to progress your account. Then we have friendship summons, standard thing, make a bunch of friends, get some points, do some summons. The other thing is the mail is over here in the chat box. Check the mail all the time. Whenever they do anything, they're giving you a truckload of diamonds, and you're going to get a bunch of summons from that. Now, moving on from that, we have the inherit. Now, this is standard idle game feature. Only level up 5 units. Everyone else goes in here and gains the level of the lowest level hero in that tree. So that is the basics behind that. Guild, standard stuff. Do your daily guild battles. Get your points. Get some gear, and that's pretty much it. Save all those guild points for endgame gear is my strategy, and that's what I'm focusing on. We have the outpost. You're going to want to do these every day. Dispatch them. Unfortunately, early game, you won't have quick dispatch or collect all, so it's a bit tedious to go through and do them, but eventually you'll unlock it and it'll become a lot smoother for you. Then we have Divine Prototype and Command Post. Prototype is where you're going to upgrade these artifacts, and Command Post is where you're going to upgrade your commanders. We'll go into those a bit more in detail in another video, but that's the basics for those. And then we have the shop, basic shop stuff. This is your basic shop with daily deals. This is your Wasteland shop. As soon as you can buy this one, get it, because it's got a Tailor who's a really good unit inside of it. This one, basically just buy these up because when you dismiss the green heroes, the common heroes, you just get this currency so you can get some more fodder. Guild, like I said, I'm saving for endgame to get the best gear, so I'm just saving up all my guild points. And this is the Galactic Arena, which you get points passively, and basically my target in this one is going to be res. So that pretty much covers everything. If there's events on, check events, and everything else pretty much has its own pop-ups. This Freddy's Treasure, he often has some decent deals. This one was 600, which is basically 300 for an exclusive and 300 for an advanced summon. Pretty good deal, so keep an eye on these. And if they've got a good gem value pack, you can buy them with gems. And then obviously for spenders, we have the spending pack as well. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. Like I said, basic guide to get you started. I will do more deep guides on more stuff in the game as we go, but hopefully that gets you pointed in the right direction. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.